Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Naked CTF. I'm Jono from OpenLearnSec, and in Naked CTF, I'm going to attempt to compromise and own a server from HackTheBox. This is the first time I've seen this particular box. I've not solved it beforehand. I've not read anything about it or the write-ups or anything like that. It's one take with no editing, so this could be a 30-minute video or it could be a 3-hour video. Hopefully not 30 hours. I'm learning in the open as I work towards my OSCP in the hope that these videos might help someone else who's on the same journey. Maybe you're interested in offensive security, just learning a little bit more about it, learning some of the tools, techniques, and procedures like I am. Or maybe you just need something to put you to sleep at night. Let's get stuck into it. Today, we're going to be doing Optimum from HackTheBox. I've just launched it a few minutes ago. We've got our IP here, 10.10.10.8. I am just going to quickly show you a little bit of automation that I've been working on. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing is trying to learn and become more proficient with tmux. I think just in terms of my overall flow, like flicking between different windows in the window manager, having to jump from one desktop to another to go into my notes is probably not the best idea. So I've started to get a lot more organized in my notes as well. You can see that I've got this OSCP study plan that I'm writing at the moment. So currently working through the April. And I'm going to do a separate video on this and a separate video on some of these automations. But just little time-saving things that, I wanted to keep working on as I develop my own methodology and everything else. So all I need to do actually is... I need to do CTF prep, and then I do CTF HTB to indicate that it's from HackTheBox, and this is how the shell function knows how to set up all my notes, which directory it gets filed under, how it gets moved into Obsidian, etc. The second part is, so that's the first variable, the second part is the name of the box, and the third variable is the IP address. So let me just quickly show you what that looks like. So it's CTF prep, CTF HTB for HackTheBox. The box name is Optimum, so it's OPTIMUM, yep. And then this is the IP address, 10.10.10.8. We do that. And you can see it's fired up a tmux session for me. So now, like, if something happens, if my PC, crashes or something, or I get disconnected or whatever it might be, it will help me to just recover some of the information and, where I was up to and everything else. And then if I come into my Obsidian notes here, CTF HTB, we should have one for Optimum ready to go. We've got our template here. Template's still a bit sparse. I'm going to be doing some work on that, but yeah. So let's just resize this. Make that a little bit smaller. There we go. Let's make this a little bit bigger. And if I do echo IP, we've got our IP address there. So as always, we're going to start off with our enumeration. So it's going to be nmap, all ports, -A, because we're going to start going aggressive. I'm not going to do the quick scan anymore. It's just seems to be a little bit of a waste of time. This does take longer, obviously, but it is what it is. So T4 timing. Let's make sure we're in the right directory first. So it's CTF HTB and Optimum. Okay, we're in the working directory. Let's do nmap all ports. Aggressive, T4 timing. I'm going to start using double verbose instead of just 1V to try and, collect a little bit more information along the way, see how that goes for my enumeration workflow. What else? So we're going to output to nmap1.txt, and then we're going to use our IP address environment variable, if I can type. There we go. It's off and running. Yeah, so I've just been working on cleaning up some stuff. I've got my my unorganized notes, my somewhat organized notes, and trying to do a little bit on this every day. I think the really important thing is after each CTF exercise is to, really file that information away, those lessons learned, maybe that new TTP that's discovered, whatever that might be, in order to make sure that it's captured. My somewhat organized notes is really, I want to try and avoid Googling the same questions over and over, right? Like I want to have a local knowledge base that I can, quickly reference a bunch of common commands for enumeration. I've spoken about in the past the, kind of the fact that I was a little bit unsure about what word lists that I'm using for directory enumeration and file enumeration, and so I've been working on that quite a bit. I am starting to use FFUF or FUF, whereas I was using GoBuster before. I do like FUF a little bit more just because of the flexibility in terms of how you can fuzz like particular paths, and it just seems a little bit more intuitive. Some of the documentation was a little bit lacking as well for GoBuster. Like I just had trouble finding reference to some of the command switches and everything else. So I've got things like useful switches here and everything else. So this is my kind of knowledge base, my personal knowledge base that I'm collecting. Once I've got it, a little bit more organized and captured and organized and a bit more richer, I will put this up on GitHub or something. Look, I know this information is repeated all over the web, but this is just kind of how my thinking works. So some of the ones that I always forget, like IDOR. So just a quick reference to what an IDOR is. Capabilities, so like different to like the set UID, set group ID bit. Yeah. So cool. With that said, let's get into our enumeration review here. So we're looking at Optimum. We'll close that. And let's do Vim. Well, I'll just do less and map1. Okay, so not a whole lot here. Only one port returned. Port 80. SYN-ACK. Oh, no, that's the reason. The banner detection and service detection. HTTP file server, HTTP 2.3. Looks like it's a Windows box. I mean, we can confirm that from the HackTheBox website itself. Like, it's pretty obvious here that it's a Windows machine. They state that straight up. Let's go and have a look at what we got. First thing we'll do is grab the enumeration output, and I'm going to just throw that in my notes. And then, what do we want to try? So what next? I think we are just going to do a casual browse of the website, see if anything interesting pops up. If we don't get anything useful out of that, move to directory and file enumeration using buff. And we probably also want to look into this HTTP, because HTTP is not a server header that I would expect from Microsoft IIS. Maybe Apache, because it uses the HTTP name a lot. One thing that it does instantly kind of raise a red flag for me is HFS. So, maybe something related to Hadoop or something similar, HFS 2.3. So we definitely want to look into and discover actual service running on port 80. Look into and confirm actual service. So let's grab the IP. Let's chuck it into our browser. And what do we see? Aha, not a lot. So this to me looks like HFS. So we can see HTTP file server 2.3. If we do a login, we get basic auth, it looks like, admin, password. You know, the obvious ones. Nothing really super straightforward there. HTTP file server, the other way to share your files. What is it? It's a file sharing web server, open source, free, guaranteed to contain no malware. Okay, so it looks like someone's written an implementation of a basic HTTP server. This is not one that I've heard before. They are in GitHub, so we'll go and have a look at that. What else? It's different from classic file sharing because it uses web technology more compatible with today's internet. Okay. And I assume this is the author. Yeah. The author or the company behind it, maybe. Looks like it's reasonably up to date. So it's had commits in the last 2 months, or actually in the last week. So it's an active project. And let's have a look at the version information. So if we go to their releases, they have 0520. And when we look on the login page here, we have 2.3. So there seems to be like a bit of a mismatch between the GitHub release versions, unless there's another branch. Like they're all still very 0.5, whereas this is in the, you know, major number of 2 dot something. So it could be, if I had to guess, that this was previously hosted on something other than GitHub. Maybe it was on SourceForge or GitLab or something like that, and they rebased the version numbers. They got quite a good to-do list here, which is cool. Version 3, 3.5, version 4, version 5. Yeah, so it looks like there's a bit of weirdness in the version numbering in how it matches up with the GitHub release number. But yeah, quite a few commits between releases. Yeah, okay. So I think the first thing I want to do is go back to my notes and just add an update that HFS is equal to HTTP file server 2.3. We'll grab the GitHub homepage just to be complete. Oops. Let's chuck that in there. And then let's have a little poke around the homepage here. So in our home directory, we've got no files. Search for A and set the search scope to entire server. Go. A. Can I change that? Yeah. Go. Maybe star. Nope, doesn't seem so. So no obvious nothing obvious on the homepage except that this is a HTTP server implementation, open source, running on version 2.3 on Windows. So let's grab this tag and let's search for default username password. There is no default password in HFS. Okay, this goes back to 2007. When I try to upload some files, password box appear. There's no default passwords. You can only use the users and passwords you create and set permissions for. So I wonder if given that when you try and log in here, it's prompting you for what I think is basic authentication. We might just fire up, but just to have a look at how that actual authentication flow is working. But I would guess that the user within HFS maps to like a regular user. Well, that would make sense on Linux, wouldn't it? But not necessarily Windows. So Let's get this guy going. Just while that starts. Oops, knew that was going to happen. Let's just really make sure there is no default credentials. So there's lots of, you know, what looks to be old timers, people who use the product a lot on this community forum talking about it. The server will always reply with unauthorized. Yeah, like if we do the, oops, we open our developer tools and we refresh this, AAA BBB, cancel. What do we get? Yeah, we get a 401. Okay. So looking at that request, yeah, authenticate, basic realm. Yeah, so it looks to be using fairly simple HTTP, basic HTTP auth. Does have a cookie, HFS SID, so 0.29891. Let's see if that changes. Look. 0.29. Yeah, so that looks to be more like a session cookie than a CSRF token or something like that. Okay. So where do we go from here? I mean, the obvious thing is we've got no default creds. Let's have a look if there's any known CVEs for this. So we can just try search, exploit. Was it HTTP file server? Rigetto, HTTP file server 2.3x, remote command. Okay, well that sounds pretty promising. This is a Python script. So we want to, I can never remember the switches. I think it's M for mirror, 49125. Less, okay, that's 49125. Okay, remote command execution from 2020, version 2.3.x. So we don't have anything after 2.3. So yeah. So usage Python 3 exploit.py rhost target remote port command HTTP file server. Okay, so they've got an example there to download a PowerShell reverse shell, basically. So that looks pretty promising. I mean, it's the only thing present. We've got nothing else in our enumeration to go and investigate. So I think we're just going to try this CVE and see if we can crack something open that way. What I do want to do is I want to test this. So how are we gonna try it? Actually, let's do this. Let's get the actual CVE for this. And yeah, so one CVE, that's the same document we're looking at. Okay. So exploit DB link, there's that link. Known exploited vulnerabilities catalog, woohoo. Find macro marker function in parserlib.paz. Allows remote attackers to execute arbitrary programs. Not is this thing Pascal? Where's the GitHub? I have no idea. Source. Config. Interesting. So I wonder if this is Windows only or if it targets both. Look, I'm getting a little bit distracted here, but Windows, minimum Windows required is 8.1. Linux. Okay. I did see a mention of Delphi there. This is a full rewrite of the Delphi version, yeah. So maybe this is the kind of reboot, and this is the vulnerable versions. Yeah, 4 years ago. Yeah, look, there it is. Okay. So 2.3 will be in here somewhere. Okay, now it makes sense. So they had this old version called HFS2, and then they kind of rebased the code repository, did a big rewrite. So the vulnerability actually exists in this one. Okay. So above is rewrite from which appears to be our vulnerable service. Okay. Let's do a little check within Metasploit, see if there's anything there. I mean, we could mess around with the Python exploit. I'm sure we can get it working, but instead of having to write obtain and customize a reverse shell, in PowerScript, Metasploit will just do all that for us. So if there's already an exploit there, yeah, that's it, isn't it? Okay, this is looking a little bit easy. Okay, defaulting to Windows Meterpreter reverse TCP. Okay, let's just see if that works. Okay, so we want to set the what do we want to set? We want to set the R hosts is going to be 10.10.10.8. Set our ports is going to be 80. Oops, our port. L host we can just set as our VPN interface. All port 444 is fine. So look, everything else looks pretty vanilla. All right, let's give it a try. Exploit completed. Started reverse TCP handler on 10.10.14.44. So, okay, this is where we start to get into the 10.10.14.44. 10.10.14.44. Okay. Okay. Let's try a different port. Set L port. Run. Exploit file failed. The address is already in use or unavailable. 0.0.08080. Exploit completed, but no session was created. I'm wondering what do we need? What payload we should be using? So yeah, let's just look at for an example. Let's Let's take the CVE. Let's Google it. CVE meta exploit example. Okay. Vulnerability analysis. Red team notes. Okay. So we know it's running. It's definitely port 80 in our case. Okay. HFS exec. Yep, that's the one that we're using. Okay, yeah, I'm just wondering if this payload is... yeah, what are we getting wrong here? So we're starting our reverse handler, which is the port locally on our machine that the reverse shell will connect to. What are the other options? What are we missing? Server port, local target port, target host, yeah. R port 80. Okay. R host, R port. Yep. Target IP, target port. My IP, my port. Windows HTTP. Exploit Windows HTTP. Yeah, it's the same one. What are we missing? Should we just set this SRV port to 80? No, that's not going to work. Oh, yes, it will. Okay. It looks like Meterpreter has run. So, can we do shell? Okay. Who am I? Classic indication of compromise. Log in. Who am I? So hostname Optimum, no surprise there. We're logged in as the user Costas. So that's the user that the HTTP file server is running as. So we're already in the desktop, so expect to see, yeah, user.txt. So let's just grab that while we're here. Get that out of the way. We just paste that into here. Then what do we want to do next? So we've got this interesting... I wonder if this is the actual binary that's running at the moment. Then we've got this temp directory. Low. This is all a little bit unusual. Nothing there. Just some other temp file junk. Maybe that's... I would assume... oh, okay. It's an alias to the actual... Yeah. So what I would assume is that the binary is running as this user and it started from the desktop, right? hfs.exe. So now we need to think about priv-esc, right? How do we want to do that? So let's check out the other users. Got administrator and public. Denied. So let's see if it's actually running as a service, or if it's just loaded as a like a binary in the foreground. So forgive me. List running services. Okay, it's net something. It's not net start. Okay, maybe it is. Okay. Net start. And is the HTTP file server in here? Does not look like it. Okay. So what else can we do? We can poke around a bit more. Let's take some notes. So reverse shell obtained via vuln in HFS 2.3 running in local user context costas. How do we see what groups I'm in? Net user costas. Local group memberships user global none. So yeah, not privileged user at all. Okay. So if we have a look in the program files, see if there's anything kind of that's non-Windows default. Common, embedded lockdown, yeah, it's all vanilla. Program files x86. Yeah, everything's fairly vanilla there. So I'm just wondering if we go back to users, what was his name? Costas. EIR. Anything else around here that could be interesting? Desktop. So just the hfs.exe. I'm tempted at this point to run something like WinPs to look for a simple PE. But I'm sure that it's staring me right in the face. So it's not running maybe there's two parts to HFS. Maybe there's a back end and a front end. Again, my lack of Windows command line recall is showing. Show listening ports. nets.aon. Don't know if this will actually work, but let's try. Okay. So you've got HFS there. 135.445.5985. These are the kind of the standard RPC ports. And then that's me. Yeah. Okay. So what else do we want to do? All right, let's get a Windows priv-esque checklist. This should be in my notes, but let's go through it anyway. Yeah, WinPs. like the P's. We don't want to do kernel exploits. PowerShell history is something that we want to look at. Logging and AV enumeration. Look, let's just do WinPs. So we'll grab a copy of WinPs. Let's just grab the executable keys. Oops. Too far. And where are our releases? We're gonna want WinPs any.exe. So we'll download that. Then we'll do okay. Nope. Hang on. I need to refer to my cheat sheet, my Tmux cheat sheet. Sod it. This will do. So let's move into our working directory, which is going to be CTF HTB Optimum. We're going to copy downloads WinPs here. We're going to run Python 3 -m http.server port 8000. Then on here, okay, this is what I need to get used to. Hopefully we have certutil. Yep. Okay, so certutil again. Don't know if it's in my notes. Certutil. Oh, look, I've got an entry there to do it, but not the actual notes. No problem. Certutil. Download with certutil. I just can't remember the syntax and I don't want to spend ages figuring it out. Yeah, there we go. I don't want to execute. Okay. URL cache. I know there's another one which is out something. -f http 10 dot. What were we again? A 10 14 44. 10 14 44. WinPs any.exe. That's because we didn't put the port number in. URL cache -f http :// 10 14 44 8000 WinPs any.exe. Oh no, that's not what we want. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not what we want. We need to use the out file. Where is it? Certutil out file. Nope, that's not it. Oh my goodness, it's still going. Yeah, it might be just easier to try wget. Okay, let's see if we can clean this up. Okay. Really trying to learn the memory muscle here. let's kill this. Oops. Okay, yes. Shell. Okay. So, PowerShell, wget. Yeah. Ah. Okay. PowerShell, wget. Yeah, invoke. Okay. PowerShell, wget. Wget. How do I get the completion? My goodness, not having a good day with syntax, etc. Downloading a file in PowerShell. Yeah, out file. That's what I was looking for. wget PowerShell wget http 1010 oh my goodness, 10.10.14.44 8000 win keys any win keys any.exe out file is going to be keys.exe. Hopefully that works. 10.10.14.44. Why are we not hitting the web server? 8000. 10.14.44. Okay, it's not even hitting our HTTP server. PowerShell. Wget. Let's try doing it in quotes. 10, 10, 14, 44, port 8000. Bin keys any .exe out file. Let's do the full path. C users hostess desktop keys.exe. Okay, no good. Invoke web request. Let's try that. So we will do PowerShell invoke web request. URI is HTTP 10, 10, 14, 44, 8000 winpeas any.exe out file is going to be C users hostess desktop keys.exe. What is going on here? All right. Okay. Sessions. Oh, how do you list? Okay, let's take a look at the hints. Because I might be just wasting a whole bunch of time here. What is the password for the Costas user? Well, that's an interesting one. And it goes back to what we started looking at here. That we didn't actually follow through on because we were too busy trying to screw around and download WinPs. Okay, cannot find. Oh, I think we need to run this within PowerShell. Oh. Ah. Okay. But that said, WinPs would have given us the, probably found the password for us. So that's optional. What Metasploit reconnaissance module can be used to list possible privilege escalation paths on a compromised system? Post multi-recon. So exit out of here. Search. Okay, I've never done this before with Metasploit. Post multi-recon is actually using it to let's just get out of that. Post multi recon. Local exploit suggester. Okay, use one. Show options. Okay, this is where my Metasploit knowledge is getting really pushed to the limit. So the idea is that we already have an existing Meterpreter session. Okay, so we need to go back to search. We need to go back to search HTTP file server. We need to use this, show options. Everything should still be the same. Okay. Right, so now we've got a Meterpreter session open. How do we actually use... how do we actually use the... enumeration tool that it's suggesting? Let's think about this. Let's just read a bit about this. Okay. Path for Leicester, Post multi-recon local exploit suggester. Okay. So we just run it from the interpreter session, right? Run. Post multi recon local exploit suggester. Well, that seems a little bit too easy. I mean, yeah. I don't know what it's going to come up with, but obviously with the interpreter reverse shell running, it can open up its own channel and then run the equivalent of P's, I guess, which would be its own. Yeah, so this would kind of be its own equivalent of WinPs, but I need to dig into Windows. Okay, missed all of that. Bypass UAC. Valid modules. Bypass UAC event viewer, but I would imagine you need a... Wouldn't you need a interactive, like... Wouldn't you need like an interactive session? Okay. I think the big lesson so far from doing this box is I have absolutely zero game when it comes to Metasploit, and I need to get better at it. The other problem that I'm having is that I can't... I can't scroll for some reason, which is making things a little bit difficult. Shortcuts. So the terminal... Alright, we'll just have to suffer with that. So... the suggester does some checks, architecture checks, etc. Check was able to use a bug or obtain hard evidence of existence. Okay. Fine. Post multi recon. That's the only one. Local exploit suggestor. Nope. Suggester. Okay. My mistake. So if we were to pick this one, for example, bypass USC event viewer. Let's just read a little bit about it. Bypass Windows UAC by hijacking a special key in the registry under the current user hive, inserting it. Been invoked when the event viewer will spawn a second shell that has the UAC flag turned off. Okay, this sounds kind of interesting. So from our interpreter shell, because we've only got one exploit Windows local bypass UA. Use what? Use exploit. So how do we run it from the interpreter session? I'm guessing we need to detach this session and then set it as the target rather than using the IP, because it's exploiting. It's going to run the exploit over the existing shell. It's not going to exploit a new service. So okay, I got to fix this. Bar working? Is it just a case? Sorry about this. We're kind of learning on the fly here, but that's the whole point. Where is the scroll back configuration? Unlimited history, yeah. Okay. So close tab. Move new. No. Okay. Use existing interpreter. Session for exploit. Yeah. So definitely going to be doing a video on this. Like I need to sit down and learn Meterpreter. Okay. So this is the GUI, which we're not using. Okay. So background, the current session, and BG list. Okay, let's try that. Background. That takes us back to kind of the root of Meterpreter. BG list. Okay, sessions. Okay, so we got active session still there. Number 2, it's alive. So now we want to use, what was it? The UAC bypass. Exploit Windows local. Exploit Windows local. Bypass UAC. Bypass UAC event. You are? Okay. So show options. Session to run this module on. Okay. So we want to run that on session 2. So session set session 2. Then we want to set our L host to ton 0. We're going to set our L port to something else. And because we're not actually exploiting a service remotely, we're going via the existing interpreter session, running this exploit. Let's see what it does. Okay. Not in admin's group, cannot escalate with this module. Okay. So then we need to go into... How do we go back to our current interpreter session? Oh, look at that. It's just an upload function that we could have used. So let's run the enumeration module again. Post multi-recon. Post multi-recon. Local exploit suggester. Show options. Use session set session 2 run. Just see what else it comes back with. Okay, so you can run this exploit enumeration tool from both within the interpreter session before you launch the shell or outside of interpreter in the general. Yeah, okay. Starting to make sense a little bit. So we know the first one it suggested the event viewer UAC bypass was not possible. So let's just grab some of this. I mean, the only ones that are saying potentially vulnerable is this. So we get back to our notes. So Metasploit multi-recon local exploit suggester output. Okay, so let's try number service is running, could not be validated. Service, so 1, 2, and 5 seem to be the best options, or the most validated options, I should say. So use exploit Windows local token magic, show options. Now, yeah, this one, set session 2, run. Set L host on 0, set L port 5555. Run. Token magic PowerShell script. Token magic PowerShell. read up about that later. So, port timeout exploit may be taking longer or it may have failed. Let's see. So I would think we get a new interpreter session, right? Seems to be hanging. Oh boy, this isn't good. Exploit completed, no session was created. Alright. So that's 2 out of 5 we've tried. Let's try this one. Use exploit, Windows, local, bypass, UAC, slew, hijack. Show options. Set session is 2. Set L host. Assume you can set L host globally. Ton 0. Set L port 556. Whatever. Run. Let's see if this one works. Nope. Not in the admin group. So yeah, like it's not a Privesc unless you're already admin, right? So so no. Let's try this CVE. Arbitrary file move. Use this one. Show options. Set session 2. Set L host on 0. Set L port. Run. Target is running Windows. It's not a version this module supports. Okay. So, wow. We've only got one option left, it looks like. Secondary logon handle Privesc. Use this one. Go options. Set session 2. Set L host ton 0. Set L port. Run. This looks a little bit more promising. Oh my goodness. Yep. Okay. So, running exploit script. So, obviously it does some sort of man in the middle to get a token. Sniffing out system shell. Quite a few errors here. Starting token race, starting process. Oh, it's a, okay, so it's a, like almost a timing thing. Holy handle leak Batman, we have system shell. So who, let's open shell. Who am I? There we go. NT authority systems. So if we go administrator, let's make this bigger. CD administrator. Desktop. Root.txt. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. Turned out to be the 5th out of the 5 possible ones we tried. That's just a bit of bad luck, I think. Let's pop the flag in here. Now, one thing that I do want to do before I end this is, yeah, it's nice to use the exploit suggester tool from Metasploit, but I want to go back to my other unprivileged sessions. PG list. Sessions. Sessions. So exit. Sessions. 2. Okay, so if we go back into here, should be our regular user, right? So let's exit out of the shell. Let's use this upload. Upload options. Source one is going to be CTF HTB Optimum, and then HTB Optimum, WinPs any. Okay, WinPs any.exe. Then we're going to upload it to C, users, cost as desktop ps.exe. Yeah, you see, that's much nicer than trying to use certutil and everything else. I mean, it's a bit of a shortcut, right? So let's see if ps finds us the, sniffs out the password. Do that. I'm just going to kill this. Oh, that's a lot. Okay. Okay, let's look at it from the Metasploit perspective. Metasploit. Search for credentials. Yeah, information gathering. Okay, I'm gonna have to fiddle with that later. But look, the point I was trying to make there is that within Meterpreter itself, that has that upload function because you're running the custom Meterpreter shell, and it's able to just handle that whole file upload process for you. So, look, this is a lot of fun. The initial foothold was pretty straightforward. Vulnerability in this open source software HFS 2.3 Metasploit module made it super easy. Where things got a little bit confusing was, it just got a little bit messy towards the end. Trying to figure out how to do a look for a privilege escalation vector using Metasploit, which was the intention of the box, and then actually, how you join up the existing shell that you have with an exploit that you want to run. And, just trying to figure all that out on the fly. So like I said, I will go away and learn Metasploit. The other thing I'll do is figure out my shell here, why I can't scroll back. That was a little bit painful. But otherwise, lots of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. And it was a lot of fun. So if you stuck around to the end of this video, thanks very much. And have a great morning or nighttime or evening, whatever time it is for you. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye-bye.